Yeah. Michael Barron. We are episode. So sometimes we'll skip this, but our episode, I want to welcome our new guest today. His name is Mike Barron. He goes the same. If you get this on YouTube, I encourage you to look on YouTube because Mike and I go to the same barber. And so I'm on the right. The way to tell the difference between Mike and I is I have the glasses on. Would you go with that, Mike? Is that okay? Okay.
Oh, here we
Okay.
go.
Now you're screwed.
No.
Now you're screwed. Swing Hard Podcast, episode number 96. 96, man. And
Rolling.
You said 100.
we're getting close to 100. We're getting close to 100. We hope we get to 100. You know what? You're only as good as your last episode. So we'll see how whatever that means. So we'll see what happens here. But I'll tell you, I've been sitting here, and we're also with producer Rob. Rob's not on the camera, but he's always here. And Rob, I appreciate everything you've done. There's Rob.
That's
Okay,
what
now
I
we're
was
set.
thinking.
With a face made,
The third bald head.
We are in our studio.
a face made for radio.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
So now, sometimes in life, you get to chance. I've known Mike. Mike, how long has it been? We don't know how long.
19. I was thinking about this. April 1967.
19. God, I was 3 years old. I
that
was
crazy?
3.
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you say April 1967? Give us a little
Actually, it
background.
would have been March 1967. I tried out for and played for your father, Jim Sr., may he rest in peace, and with your two older brothers, Jim
And John.
and John, on a little league team from not from, that's a different conversation, but yeah.
Yeah, way back then. The reason why you're here, though, and Mike, granted, has listened to every episode we have, and I appreciate that. And we give out a gift for that. I think there's a bobblehead
It's
or
your
something.
bobblehead.
Yeah, there's a bobblehead. It's behind you, Rob. It's right there to your right. So the
Second place is 3 bobbleheads.
Yeah, so this is the bobblehead of that we give to our guys that listen to all 96 episodes. And Mike, thanks for coming in. Again, you got to see this on YouTube. If you're not, you're missing the whole shtick. There it is. That's exactly right. That's how I pitch. But let me get into this. So it's about building relationships. It's about the relationships I've met in all these years in this game. I've been about a coach. I've coached at the little league level. I've coached at the high school level. I've coached at the junior college, the 4-year, coach in Alaska, back at Notre Dame High School now. But you build relationships from this great game. And ironically, we got a chance to get together way back when my dad coached you. And you've used so many different stories about my father that I finally said, hey, man, let's do this. And hopefully the connection here is not just Denny brings in an old friend. What he does, he brings in a guy. Youth baseball was important to you, was it not?
Everything.
Yeah. Talk about that. And how do you know that?
I was 6, 7 when my folks separated, and my father was not involved on that end. By the way, my father had literally 0 athletic ability whatsoever. It was quite embarrassing. and I could actually have 0 recall of ever even throwing a ball with my father.
Wow.
All right, should I lay down on this at this point?
Continue on.
Your time's
Son of
up.
But I have almost no recall, none of the, it was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 was Little League, right?
Right.
And I have 0 recall other than I played for a team called the Generals. So I have no recall of my 8th year, my 8th year. But I do have a very vivid memories for the 10 following years, because most of those I played for your dad and with your brothers.
Right on.
But I remember playing for him in all of the lessons, and so there were some tough life lessons, because he kind of took over a role for me, kind of as a surrogate father.
Yeah.
This is where it gets ugly. Where are the tissues?
Yeah, we got tissues. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I'll just wipe with the bobblehead.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, just everything about the one that sticks with me is I got super angry about the folk separation, and I was acting out, and I was just starting to get some playtime. I was barely 9, and I remember your father sitting me down. I could show you today the absolute place on the bleacher, and telling me, about citizenship
Hmm.
and balance
Hmm.
and how you had to perform in school. And if you didn't do those things and take care of your business first, the baseball was not going to be a part, and that I would not be playing for the next 2 games.
Yeah.
And he sat me down, and I was like, who the? But
Yeah.
the lesson, the life lesson, was the first of many, many, many hundreds of lessons.
And you didn't know those were coming in. And again, we didn't bring
We
Mike
didn't
in
pay
here.
for it.
You didn't pay for it, right?
No,
But you
valuable.
you don't realize coaches today, and I've taken out from my father. I never asked my dad, hey Dad, how would you coach? How do you coach? I've always wanted to know stride, stance, but those are the moments that the influence we have as adults. Rob, you were a youth coach. I know I was a youth coach. We're seeing the other side of it. Now, I was his son. I've had coaches I like and coaches I didn't like. You don't have to like your coach, but you sure there's that moment that you never forget, I assume, on those bleachers. I know those bleachers. I know the exact spot because later on I was smoking pot when I was 15 around those bleachers.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Neither confirmed nor
No.
denied.
What,
1 second.
when you talk to do you ever follow up with other, do you ever see there are examples out there today? Are there examples of guys you see? Jim and John, my brothers, I know you guys hung out with. I was just a mascot on this team. I was just a little shit.
The 3-year-old, literally the 3-year-old mascot.
That's it. I learned how to play the game with a wiffle ball bat and a wiffle ball, like a dog. And what happened to me is I'd go to their,
literally drop the ball at everybody's feet.
That's-
Literally like a dog.
You were a dog.
I was a dog.
Fetch.
I did not know what was going on. I didn't have any lessons. No one told me hands this. All I know is these guys' responsibility for me, and they didn't even know it at the time,
Was to throw BP.
was to throw BP. I would take, all Dad would give me, he says, get the bat and the ball. I'd go out there, drop the ball down. Mike would throw it to me. I'd hit it. It'd go to another player. I'd
Think
go with it.
about how many reps you had by the time you came into the league at 8.
Oh,
You'd had hundreds of thousands of reps.
that's you're exactly right.
Crazy.
I thought that's what batting practice was. Then Dad would say, come on, Dink, get your stuff. We're going out there with Jim and John and Mike. We're going to go hit together. And I'd go, this is not fun. You had to shag. I never wanted to shag. Ever.
No,
Shag.
no, that was not part of your reality.
No. I'd sit down and you and Jim would say, get your ass up. Get balls be hitting by me. And I'd just be sitting watching. And they'd go, I was a little spoiled. I was the youngest. So I was spoiled. But I thought,
No, you were more than a little spoiled.
hey, so now listen,
Nominally spoiled.
has the game changed? And we're going right into it now. You've been out there and watched. I'm going to go
like, look, you have this roster of people that you've brought in who played the game. I stopped playing the game after high school. I played a year for your father while I was in college, some other league, but I don't know, has the game changed? I mean, every kid, it seems now at 10, has a hitting coach, a therapist, a sports psychologist, a dietitian,
4 tutors.
Yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly. A French coach, and is taking some kind of ballet or tap in order to work with their footwork.
Yoga. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, when I see a 10-year-old kid carrying the backpack and he says to me, namaste, I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, the game's changed a lot. The budget, the indulgence, the pure amount of, again, reps. How many? If I were in a 12U team for you, how many games would I see during the year? Live games.
Wow.
Versus
Great question.
22, I think wasn't that our number?
Yes.
If you went all the way 25,
22, you'd go 11 in the first half
and you're
and
not
11 in the second half.
100 and quarter.
And
Probably.
was that like an all-star?
Exactly right.
All-star.
It's exactly
In the
right. If you
beginning,
won the
yeah.
first half, you played the second
Yeah.
half. And God, I wish I had my books with me to show you how it went. You're exactly right.
I know you're still wearing that creepy green Tigers.
I got
How
my
does
Tiger
a 58-year-old man
Yeah.
wear a 50-year-old hat?
because then you
You
need,
got a head bigger than Nancy Reagan.
because then with my kids, so true. I had the biggest head ever. I remember crawling through.
Literally like a Macy's Day balloon.
I would crawl through tables and chairs and my head would get stuck and they didn't know where Jenny was, but they saw the chair moving left and right going, there's where he's at. But what you're saying though is why then have we made it better? I'd sit here and argue, is it better today than for these kids, or is it?
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a discussion to be had. Again, I don't have children, so I don't know that I'm the guy to have the discussion other than to point things out, which I apparently am pretty good at doing. I mean, your kid, your 12U kid is playing 125, 140 games a year.
Between 81 20. If we qualify, if we
Right?
get to the
Are
gold
you
bracket,
kidding?
they're playing
That
between.
many games?
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
I didn't
we
realize that.
played maybe 25.
Wow.
We played over the line every day, the
Right.
sunshine. But I mean, there's the injury thing, but where's the balance?
We played 80 in college. And I thought that was
That's
ridiculous.
a crazy schedule.
And I thought it was ridiculous.
No,
Like,
it was.
That's crazy.
Well, you didn't know back in college. You didn't know when I got to
Yeah.
high school, you played 30 at the most.
30.
To get to the finals.
Yeah.
But when I went to my first year in college, the schedule had 84 games on it.
Yeah.
And I only got 4 at bats my freshman year. So people complain about sitting on the bench. Let me tell you something, man. 84 games and getting 4 at bats. There was a lot of sitting going on.
You learn a lot of bad habits sitting on the bench.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, everything.
I-
Back to cussing and
I
life.
remember showing up. You know, you know, the season would preseason in Little League, even senior league, you know, so 12, 13, 14,
Right.
13, 14, 15. And you'd show up in March and there'd be 3 or 4 practices.
Yeah.
And I would remember being rag arm,
Mhm.
really bad arm for the first 2, 3, because I had not done the proper amount of warming
That
up.
still happens now, Mike.
Does it?
Yeah, yeah. Kids, as of
But they're
last
playing
year,
year round.
kids have had sore arms by
Yeah.
the 3rd practice. And
Yeah, right.
that's good coaching, bad coaching, I don't know. But if you're only given 3 or 4 practice before the season,
You got
want the kids
nothing.
to be ready.
Right.
But they already have
right.
sore arms.
Or as your brother Jim would call it, pus arm.
Plus arms, yeah.
That's
But I'll tell you, we have learned. There's some good things and bad things that have happened. Because back when you guys played, and that was a long time ago, man. Holy cow! Back when Mike played, running water was just being delivered, and we had dirt, but
it
no,
was walking.
Abner
It wasn't even
Doubleday.
running yet.
Abner Doubleday was in the stands.
exactly
He was
right.
watching. Yeah.
But they would pitchers, coaches could pitch pitchers as much as they want. 6 innings. There wasn't a time.
No limit, no pitch counts.
Right,
No,
right.
no, there were inning counts.
There were inning counts. That's right. But
Yeah.
the key that then 9-year-old, it was the minors were 8-year-olds. But then when you got the 9s played against the 12s. It was 9, 10, 11, 12. Today you have 9U, 10U, 11U. Then can you imagine today the 12U's playing against the 9U?
I'm gonna pivot it to the get off my lawn. So back then, it was if you were pretty good, if you were good at age 9, you got called up to the majors.
Yeah.
But many kids at 9 and 10 stayed in the minors. But at 11, if you were still in the minors, they asked you to leave.
Wow.
They asked you to leave. That's unthinkable now,
Wow, that is a thing.
right? It's unthinkable. Give this kid a trophy,
Yeah.
and play him or her,
Yeah, man. No, man.
right?
And I don't know if
by
I
the-
agree
you know
with
how I
that,
know
though.
this? Because my oldest brother, who had probably inexplicably less athletic talent than my dad, was asked out of the league he was still in the minors.
I'd like to be in that conversation.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, again, the get off my lawn guy. I want to be the guy who it's like in Moneyball where they said, "Here's the card for the traveling secretary. You've been traded."
You've been traded. That's it. Yes.
Right?
That's
But
it.
you're not going to play baseball ever again.
Ah, that's so true, man. It's sad though. It's sad. It's hard. I bring kids in and I see the difference of skill sets, skill levels, you know, and I wish a 12-year-old could play with the 9-year-olds and not feel like he's less than because if they did, they still have a chance. I think all kids have a chance to play. I do think they have a chance because their
Here's
bodies
a
change.
question for you.
I love, by the way, when you interrupt me. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, because you were really staying.
I got
I got to bring it back.
go ahead.
Hold this for.
Yeah, I got this now. Thank you.
I get the true joy of coming out and watching you coach. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, and I tear up. It's like watching your dad. You'd be very proud. What percentage of kids, I'm not asking you to indoctrinate your program, but what percentage of kids right now are in a development program, have a hitting coach where those resources would be better? You know, the reality is
Oh,
you're 12, like this example of my brother, my oldest brother, Yeah, you know what? You should do something else.
Math tutor.
And
Yeah.
can we even have that conversation with a young person and their parents today?
Man, that's tough to have. We have asked kids.
That's where I want to go.
The 14U team that we had was we were 68-12 last year.
How do you even remember
Because
that?
it's documented with the tournaments. They everything there's a moneymaker, man. USSSA, PG, all these things, they document everything.
Hey, Ray, man.
So I'm telling you right now that we go, but to get to that team, we had to ask some kids to leave and brought another kid. Some kid bring out the
Right.
It's not dirty. God, it sounds so awful. Dirty water, clean water. Just the more good water you put in there, the better the team gets. You know, and we've been there. However, the part I don't like though is your brother, who had zero talent by your terms. What's he doing today?
He's retired as CEO of one of the largest furniture companies in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, he's done okay.
Yeah, he's done okay. And your other brother,
The fact that he could not hit the high hard one does not hurt him.
that's exactly right.
And the other one had more talent, but he gave up on baseball and organized sports, and he's the vice chairman of the Yale Business School.
Of the Yale Business School.
Still okay.
He's
So
done all
it's,
right.
it's hard to communicate with parents. And
Here I
kids.
am living in a van
That's-
down by the river, but I got a bobblehead. So I'm
You
good.
got that. But the problem is we talk to young kids. You got two kids, loved baseball, and now they're in different sports.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But that transition from saying, man, Dad, they know who the better players and not better players. I know, we all know.
They were saying it.
But I also know in
They
my
were saying
head,
it. Yeah.
I swear to God, in my head, it doesn't mean shit, excuse my language, of who's the best player at age 8 through 12 or 9 through 14. I know many guys that were all-stars that are right now struggled through life. And they were the kings at 12 years old. But
Go.
do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I'm thinking about you bridged like my brothers and what the incredible success they've enjoyed in their lives professionally. I came out of school and I went to work for the Xerox Corporation as a salesman, and that was the.
Are we
best.
promoting Xerox today? I have no idea. Are they paying for this? I hope. Son of a bitch. Go ahead, man.
If you need a no,
Yeah.
But back then, this is in 1981, they would post the stack rankings, and they have a line, a help me, hurt me line.
Okay.
We would do recognitions
Right.
where we'd have a steak and lima beans dinner, where if you were above plan,
Yeah.
you got steak.
Yeah.
But if you were below plan, you got served beans.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
we had in the hallway the stack rankings of the reps. And this now we're in the middle 80s, late 80s, and reps would have clients in the office for presentations and demonstrations, and they started to push back. If my client comes in, they're going to see my name at the bottom of the stack ranking.
Sure.
And I can remember a few times as a manager saying, yeah, there's an easy fix to that. Do better.
But you're talking about you're at Xerox, and I love what you're saying.
But don't we have the same problem today? Don't you as a professional manager have that same?
Oh, 100%. But here's the challenge I have is,
Could I take you somewhere that you?
yeah, you took me to a spot going, man.
Is this still safe?
Yeah, I hate this. I'm ready to break that thing. Snap it. I think do we have to let these kids know about the professional business at Xerox and the name up here, steak and beans, at such a young age? And it's hard not to, but the better players, I know who's going to play short. A kid comes to me the other day and says, Coach, I want to play short. He's left-handed. I won't mention his name. All the coaches know. He's a little lefty.
Well, you can't have more than 4 southpaws in the program, but go on.
He says, I want to play short. Well, they don't play short later on. We don't play short in the big leagues. Well, wait, is that my comparison? Or they don't play, there's not a left-handed shortstop in the major leagues, at college, at high school. Maybe there is, I'm not sure. But I tell that kid, you are going to be a first baseman, a pitcher, or an outfielder.
Right.
But is it do we have to tell them right now? Or do we wait?
You see it on the school side, starting in 9th grade, in order to get into Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Chaminade, Harvard Westlake. Yeah, there's some nepotism there. Yeah, there's some dollars there, but for the most part, it's performance based. It's Xerox.
It's next man
Are you
up.
lima
It
beans?
is.
Are you steak? If you're steak, you're getting into those schools.
Right.
If you're lima beans, you're going to go to public.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that, but it's
Right.
true.
Right.
It's
So
true.
let's get to everyone gets a trophy then.
Oh boy.
Go with that one. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a topic of like,
How many segments is this?
yeah. But the point is, so we just rotate kids around. It's really, and my dad used to say, man, Jim, they're 8 and 9. We won't keep score. That's if we're not keeping score, then let's don't play. Just why do we need umpires? Why do we need anything? Just go out there and play.
Still, one of the great Barrett lines is, why is my kid hitting 12th? Or why is he hitting 9th?
Because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no 10th.
Right.
Because there's no 10th.
We'll
Yeah.
change that in the edit.
Yeah. Because you hit 9th. I don't know.
No, I was always either the 1 or the 5.
I know, and he got a lot of heat for that. I remember he took a lot of heat when Barron went to the 1 hole. And we went, my God. I remember as a
But
mascot,
Here,
I dropped the ball down and someone would throw it to me. He said, not until Barron hits in the 5th will I pitch you. And I went, all right, go ahead, take it from there.
I was very aware that there were a lot of people, your brother certainly at or near the top of the list, who had better physical talent.
Mhm.
And I knew that the only way to battle that was to play harder
Right.
and to give more to the team or to work on my game.
Right.
But it was binary. You were either good enough to play, and then there were the strata within that, or you weren't.
But today,
But you knew.
you knew. Now your dad didn't know a damn thing about baseball.
My dad never even showed up. My dad thought it was funny. He would make fun of it.
Yeah.
He would make fun of it. People would say, way to go, Mike. Way to go. My father would say stuff like, way to walk,
Yeah.
way to breathe.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
So to my dad, it was a joke because he never played organized sports.
But when you came home and not playing, who would you talk to, mom or dad? Did you ever go?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody. That's why I was in your house all the time.
You were over quite often. But
Way too often.
so today though, the parents, the way they get to you,
Mhm.
that one-on-one conversation, how many emails did you ever send to me when your sons didn't play?
Maybe one. And it wasn't
Did
because
you?
it would play.
Yeah,
It was more of feedback about my
that's
sons.
it. That's
I would-
exactly
I would
right.
never do that. I would
Th-
never
that's-
say why didn't
I
you
thought
play?
it was 0 because I don't remember an
It
email.
was like what they need
What's
to-
the plan?
no, not necessarily where they're playing. I would never do that.
No, the plan of my kid.
Oh,
What do you got?
What,
Yeah,
what do you think? That
Yeah.
was it.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I
but
remember that.
was it.
you played the game.
I did.
I think in retrospect.
Wait, let's just give it credit for who'd you pitch for in that summer? That one summer?
Fairfax
Fairfax
Industrial
Furniture
League, yeah.
Industrial League. Let's don't.
Yeah.
For all of your furniture needs.
That's right.
In Fairfax.
Go ahead.
And coming to Leesburg soon.
It does help that he played the game.
It does.
But in my looking back, at the kids that we grew up with, some of their parents, your mom was a pretty reputable softball player. as
She
I
was.
recall.
She was.
At a
Pistol
time-
in the stands too.
And your dad played pro baseball.
Right. Right.
My athletic ability, such as it was, came from my mom and my mother's father, who was an incredible athlete. But it was a real relief to not have my dad.
Yeah.
In some cases, embarrass me.
100%.
He couldn't give it. He wrote the check. I think it was $34 for the league fee.
Mhm.
He was a furniture maker, so he tried to save some money and make a bat for me. That's a different podcast.
Wow.
Literally, I had my XPG3.
Yeah.
I had the Puma cleats that came from, remember the store up on Magnolia?
Yeah. Yes.
And I probably wore the same belt,
Yeah.
that I wore to a bar mitzvah until your dad said,
Yeah.
like in Wall Street, you can't come in here dressed like that.
That's
Get
I
a
get it.
goddamn proper belt.
I get it.
And 2 pairs of Sandies. I mean, the whole season was $70.
Yeah. Right. Not today. Not today.
No.
No, not a chance.
It's got to be $70 a week.
No.
More.
It's 400 plus to even sign up.
100%. That's right.
100%.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
If you play for batters, so you pay a monthly fee. I'm not going to get into that. You pay a monthly fee to get proper training. And by the way, they're all.
By the way, it's a fair fee, Danny, by the way.
It is a fair fee.
It's fair. Yes.
Now we have high school coaches out there. Which is perfect. They all want to rank. Is he getting the right coaching? Coaching is important. Coaching is important. However, you got to have people that will actually communicate. Like you said, my dad did you at the bleachers that day. The first thing I tell my coaches, get to know the kid's name. Know the kid's name.
That was not your dad's strongest suit.
No, he didn't know a name. He didn't know who I was.
Everybody was Pard.
Pard or pal. That's exactly right.
More Pard than Pal.
No, How
you know that, Pard?
And you knew
My
it.
Dad, that's your daughter.
Yes, exactly.
That's
true. That's so true. You're so true. Bring it up, boys. How was bring it up, man? You know, he'd say, bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. He had nothing to say.
It's a treat.
Yeah. Did it affect you that he smoked cigarettes during games?
No.
Just a side note.
Everything, such fondness for how he conducted himself. There were a few times where I did some really poor stuff in game situations because I was angry, and he used to call me his Israeli freedom fighter, which I think was his way of saying you're the only Jew in the program. But I was really very aggressive, and I went after a first baseman. You know, I'm just a like
cheap shot. Try to dump him.
Very much.
Yep.
And I remember.
Yeah.
He had his hand on me, and I deserved every bit of it.
Yeah.
But no, he was heavy-handed when he needed to be heavy-handed, and the humor, but the lessons are indelible. 57. How old am I? 55 years later, the lessons are still very much with me every day.
Crazy, isn't it? You remember your first coach?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember them all, actually.
Yeah.
I remember all my coaches.
What do you remember about your
his name?
Yeah, but my shoes are older.
His name was Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed.
Yeah, it was T-ball. And his son was on the team, is
there it
David
is.
Reed.
Okay.
Was he any good?
He wasn't bad.
He pitched on T-ball, so I'm not sure.
He's the best T-ball pitcher out there. He really was.
If I may say.
Really
So that's my new banner book, T-ball pitcher.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Mr. Hemphill, Mr. Marshall. I know them all.
You know them all.
Cavallini was my high school coach. Billy Brown of my college
Isn't
coach.
that great, man?
Great names.
Woody, Fairfax Furniture was Woody.
Yeah.
We call him Woody.
That's all he needs to be called.
Yeah.
That's like Madonna.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a first or last,
Woody.
just Woody.
He's
Yeah, it's exactly.
Ish.
Yeah.
And loved the game. Was out
Yeah.
there in his uniform. Shouldn't have
Yeah.
been. And his son played too. He was a catcher. His son. And
Yeah.
it was fun. I remember every coach.
Now Mike, you get into, I'm going to segue out of this for a little bit. We talk a lot of UCLA basketball. You're a UCLA fan. I know. Here comes the hat. Godly. If I ever say that Bruins will get beat tomorrow, it's going to piss them off. They won't. I know. You're a big Mick Cronin fan, right?
I am.
And why? Talk to me about why Mick Cronin is so good to you. And I know he's relevant today. This is a baseball podcast, but Cronin's about coaching. And
He's about winning.
He's about winning. Yeah.
This guy, he's just his structure is about and I've heard him speak a number of times in intimate surroundings, and he says this in broadcasting environments. He is about coaching. He is not a friend to his players.
Mm-hmm.
He is about excellence. Said something in his news conference yesterday, and I just loved as an example. He's talking about Tiger Campbell, who is not a physically gifted guy in terms of size, right? He's probably not even 6 feet tall. And he says, this young man gets everything out of his physical gifts. I love that idea. And it goes back to, if you want to get up there, do better. Take better advantage of whatever gifts you're given. And that's how he coaches. And, we've got a situation where we've at least hopefully temporarily lost our third best player, amazing player.
When you say we, so are you on the team? I apologize. I just want to make sure for our listeners out there.
I'm glad you bring it up, because remind me, how is Azusa?
Azusa Pacific, we're waiting to get in. We're waiting to get in. God.
Is he inviting the mail?
Here we go again. Here we go again. I go a little jab. He's got to come
I
back.
can tell you the three of us and two mannequins that were in a showroom downstairs could beat Azusa Pacific.
Wow.
Hey, I hear they have a great women's soccer team.
And I tell you what, take that. Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
No
Take
problem.
that. But no, continue with, by the way, I heard this guy, Tiger, he's still a junior. I thought he's been there for like 9 years. I
Well,
can't
well,
believe that
now
you're a junior.
with the portal year and
Yeah.
the COVID year,
Yeah.
we've got a couple guys who are in their early 40s.
Is that gonna
No, literally, David Singletary playing his 160th.
Oh my
Yeah.
Well, literally.
There is a COVID year. There's a red shirt year. There's
Yeah.
a
Plus
I
4.
don't know what I'm doing.
Plus
four more?
4.
Plus
Jesus.
4. Yeah, that's
I heard
6.
somebody said
I'm going back.
Stetson Bennett kid from Georgia is 32.
Yes, hey, I tell you, yeah. And I guess I got Alabama. What year is he?
He's a hell of a shooter.
He's oh my gosh, the basketball guard. Yeah, well,
He knows how to hold them.
Miller. Brandon
you weren't
Miller.
happy about that, were you?
No, but
He was player of the year, wasn't he, for the SEC?
yeah, he said.
Why punish the kid? Because of what happened off campus
That's
and
it,
on
right.
campus.
I'll go right back to that would not have flown at a time that, as I, we're talking about when I was younger, back in the dark ages. That would not, that kind of lack of citizenship and social decision making at a price. Just like the first point I make, I was not doing well in school, and I got sat down for it and taught an invaluable lesson about life balance. It's alleged that this young man delivered a weapon, he doesn't deny it, to the scene of a crime where a murder occurred. And they're saying it's not criminal because he did not have any direct knowledge that a crime would be committed when he was delivering, upon request, a loaded weapon to his teammate after midnight at a bar. That kind of addled decision making got us benched.
Yeah, well, of course, I get it.
No, that got you thrown off the team.
I think.
I'm sorry, my coach is kicking my ass.
Yeah,
I was
in high school.
I was slow rolling you.
Yeah, right.
Pardon me. Yeah. So,
man, we don't show up. I remember at college. You don't show up for study hall once or twice.
Right.
Your ass is done.
Right.
Sorry.
That I get, but do you punish the kid? I get he has to take something.
absolutely.
Or do you look at his upbringing and maybe he had no parental,
Great point.
maybe he had no parents in there to tell him what the difference between right and wrong is? Because some of these kids, I mean it, Alabama, wherever they're coming from, Los Angeles, North Hollywood, my neighborhood, with the home life, who's responsible for a kid's behavior? Is it the coach or is it the parents bringing those kids up?
Let me ask you something. We're in the middle of a key game and I throw to the wrong cutoff guy. Are you going to come unhinged? It's a critical situation.
I'm going to be a little bit.
And I got a guy on first base and now he's stretching because I threw behind him.
I'm going to be bitter. I will take you aside and say, I will first punch you as I do.
Right.
All kids.
Right.
No, I will take you
as happened.
As I do so they can remember. But no, I'll chastise a kid and get on him and not get on him though.
But what, let me just make that point, if I may, because it's poor decision making.
It is.
Okay. Not only have we not heard anything about, they're saying, hey, he's cooperating with the police. The guy comes out in the next game and one of his teammates jokingly in the intro pats him down. There's a dead 25-year-old mother.
But hold on a second. Ja Morant flashed a gun in a social media post.
Right.
Flashed it.
Just exactly.
And he's paying for it dearly right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's near as I can tell, he's got a 2-game suspension and he's
No, there's more coming.
He's committed allegedly to felony for a couple reasons.
Yeah.
He was traveling with the team. It's against league rules to have a weapon.
Yep.
It's not licensed. And oh, by the way, why does the guy need a weapon?
Yeah,
well,
he doesn't. Not
only that, how do you get on the airplane, get into Denver? How did he get it through there? But here's the deal. The guy got, and I'm going to side with Ja. By the way, it's Ja Moran, J-A. We talked about this. I thought it was John forever. It's Ja.
I kept saying Ja.
Ja. So the kid makes $40 million. $50 million. He's 19 years old.
$200 million contract.
$200 million contract.
Which
And
is
you're gonna-
significantly more than my first contract.
And mine. However, this podcast, it keeps blowing up, man. We're this big money.
We're 200 here.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
We could have 2 of these by the time we get to 198
Exactly
podcasts.
right. But what do you do? Just throw the kid off? arrest them, throw them away, or the kid from Alabama, arrest them, throw them away. Why don't we look at them individual basis and say, hey, let's work with this kid. The only thing these kids have ever done is played basketball, and they're awfully good at it.
Goes
And
right back to the issue of balance, citizenship, and decision making.
fine, but at that age right now, Mike, now I'm pissed. At that age for these young kids,
Now it took you this long? Jesus.
do we work with them, or what do we do with the kid from Alabama? Take him out of what he does. Only what he loves to do is take away basketball from him. Take away the Final Four, take away March Madness, because Mike Barron and Denny Barrett are going to sit here and go, you know what? That's not okay. Let's absolutely eliminate his love.
So this young man in Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, is 18 years old.
Okay.
He's getting NIL money, so he's probably a millionaire.
18 years old. That's
Yeah,
young,
and by the way, he could be physically, his game could be the college player of the year. He's
Right.
certainly in the discussion.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think we need to stop and say, wait a minute. What's wrong with the decision making? What's wrong with the problem solving? I was walking into the building and I thought about some of the great moments being in the yard with your family and your dad. And I loved when we played situations.
Yeah,
And I was,
was fun.
predominantly a catcher.
that was fun.
And so I was always in the middle of, all right, if it comes here, we're going there.
Yeah.
If it goes there, we're going here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that way in business now. I've got a plan. I've got a backup plan. I got a backup plan for the backup plan.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking strategically.
Mm-hmm.
There's an issue in the case of this young man, as an example, with problem solving.
Well,
You didn't put together that taking a gun
Yeah.
to a friend at a bar after midnight might.
but maybe he's done it. Here's the thing: he didn't have a Jim Barrett. You mentioned at 6 years old, he took
Or a
it-
Denny Barrett.
or a
seems
Denny
like.
Barrett.
Yeah.
He didn't have a coach that paid attention to the kids. So what happens is a great player, and I know at youth, I stay away from our great players. It's a bummer. I check myself and go, damn, because he doesn't need to be coached. He doesn't need to be communicated with. He's going to come up there. He'll throw 90 miles an hour. He'll hit home runs. He'll do everything. He's a star. So what ends up happening is to these star players is we don't get to know them like we should. I'm just realizing that. My bad. I'm just realizing that this kid didn't have a Jim Barrett taking him on the bleachers and say, Mike, he didn't. Maybe he never did at 7 and 8. He probably was the star of his youth basketball and whatever basketball they have in their youth all the time. And now the kid gets 18 and he's hanging around dudes that we've all been to college. And you get hanging around the wrong group. But when do you slap him with what serious warning do you give a young kid?
How about I'll just use a 19-year-old version of myself, and I'll just say that I was alone in a bar and a bar fight breaks out.
Yes.
And I know enough that there's trouble, and I call my baseball coach and I said, I'm in a bar. I won't name names.
Right.
And a fight's broken out.
Yes. He
And-
goes.
And I'm in trouble.
Right.
And I know it's going to get worse. I need you here.
Yes.
Right?
And he's there. Exactly.
And because I knew that's the call I make.
Yeah. And that
I knew that then.
I hear you.
Could it be where they take this kid, whoever kid, out of the spotlight for a year, keep him in school, do some sort of training, and I'm thinking very sterile here. Do some sort of training. Don't cast him away to the dogs here.
Not at all. Of
But
course. you're
put him in a sensitivity / life lessons training for a year, then bring him back.
So we take the only thing he's ever known
No, we
to
don't-
mankind. That sounds too big. Is basketball
for
or
I think-
baseball. We can use any name in here.
Well,
By the way,
he's
we'll stay
gonna
off
be
this
out
kid.
of
But
it eventually. He's going to be arrested or killed or
Yeah.
going to be out of the game.
I
Yeah.
think
Instead of giving him a shot
yeah,
for a year, he's still in school. He's
yeah.
still getting his education, but
Yeah.
he's doing the right thing. He's going to sensitivity,
can't-
whatever those classes are.
Yeah.
you can't miss the continuity of what's going on at Alabama and what happened with Jaw.
It's
2 years later. Hello, society.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just looking at and by the way, let's talk Trevor Bauer.
Yeah. No.
Here's my issue, and now I'm just gonna go. It's off. Misconduct appears to have to rise to the point of criminality in order to be addressed on the institutional sports level, and I object to that. Trevor says, well, she asked for thus and so, and they say, well, it's not criminal, but it's most assuredly immoral, improper, and he should know better.
Bad judgment.
And it's and for me, it's not worthy of the kind of behavior of somebody to be paid and receive the kind of adoration from our society and the kind of compensation.
No, I get you. You know who else it affects? So I got to call you.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. You're going to hear this new podcast with Mike Barron and Jim Barrett, two of the most angriest men ever. If you hear live,
Yeah,
here.
I am so far second place to him.
I know.
He's the GOAT.
God, I
Get
know.
off my lawn.
I had a call the other night. We have a tournament this weekend. Dad calls me. He says, Denny, my son's been mouthing off to me and his mother. And we're keeping him out.
Great example.
We're keeping him out of the weekend. I said, wait, he's our best player on the team. He literally is. He's a pitcher, shortstop. When I say best player, he can fill a lot of goals. It would be different.
Bury the lead. Go.
Right.
Yeah.
So he goes in, makes a call, and I have a car. I said, hold on a second. Allow what happened?
Let's not get carried away, you're thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As a coach, I know this Alabama. I know what coaches and players, because in my situation, I'm thinking, wait, you're also going to punish the other 11 players. You're also punishing
or school them.
Or what?
Or school them.
What do you mean school them?
They're going to learn a lesson.
Who? The other players?
Yes.
By getting knocked out in the first round, or by when this kid's on the team, maybe they have a chance.
That behavior has consequences.
Where's Alabama ranked this year?
Depending on who you talk to, 1 to 5.
Okay, if without this kid, where are they ranked?
They're out of the,
they're not the top.
they're out of the
So
15.
do I think those other 9 players? It depends on, and I'm just giving you devil's advocate.
It's a team sport, right?
It's a team sport, but the best player on your team
has a responsibility to the team.
He does. So, but we're going to make sure that everything before we just start demolishing. And I'm talking like a coach right now. So what happened was I said, let me talk to the kid. Let me talk to the kid. And the dad said, that's a great idea, Danny. You tell me, and then however it goes, then we'll talk to him afterwards. So the kid gets on the phone. I say, hey,
did you say to the kid, I need $50
right now. I said, what's going on? And he says, what are you talking about, coach? I said, okay, you're not going to tell me that. Right now, you're suspended for the weekend because of the behavior you have with your parents. I want to know what happened.
Great ask.
He tells me, well, my dad's always on me. My dad's this. I go, I'll tell you what, your parents have been there for you from the get-go. Who's driving to the game tomorrow? Oh, my dad is. Well, right now you're not going. So what are we going to do now, Noel? We talked. I can get more details. I don't want to get too much into it, but I did tell the kid that, hey, here's what you're going to do. You're going to keep your mouth shut, and you're going to go in there, sit with your parents. You're going to make an amends to both of them and tell them, man, I promise I will not do this again. But the only way you're going to do that is if you can hold on to that. Can you hold on to that? I can. Now,
hold on to it, meaning can you maintain that?
Can you maintain it? Can you maintain
behavior?
that? Yes, exactly right. And he goes, yeah, I could do that. I said, well, I'll tell you what, man. Here's the deal. You could talk to them. And then I talked to the dad. He'll give him the weekend. He says, okay, he'll play this weekend, coach, because he had a nice conversation. I told the kid, if it happens again, though, you're done for the season. You're done with batters.
Wow.
You're just done. And that's where I'm holding my neck out there for you.
You're really willing to?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I've done that. That's not a problem. I'm giving the kid another opportunity. Now, this isn't guns.
Can I get $20 on it?
Hey, this isn't guns and stuff, but I will tell you, because there's other players down there.
Serious.
It is serious.
Yeah.
How old is this young fella?
13.
Did I just say young fella?
He's 14. But how pissed would you be if you're a player and you're playing for UCLA and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar doesn't show up for the next 10 games?
I mean, I know the impact.
I don't even know Kareem. Let's see. Give me another guy. Not Kobe. My God, rest in peace.
I know this impact on a professional basis. I know doing stuff in a corporate environment where your behavior costs you incentives, promotions, etc.
I get that. But as a team,
that's life.
That's right.
That's life. You run a red light, or worse, you get a ticket, you get stopped. There are fines. There's impact. And by the way, 14 isn't too far from driving age and not too far from college.
14's high school,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
ninth grade.
and gosh, we see so many bad decisions that maybe aren't addressed enough. I think what you did is okay. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. It
But I
happens
love
on
the father.
I
If you're out there,
it happened on a Friday night. We play the next day.
How'd
If I
you
have
do?
9 guys, we have 9 guys. I need the guy there.
Oh,
So what would have happened is I punish him. I told the dad, and again, man, I'm going to lose thousands of customers here. I told the dad, I need your son. Can we? I went to old school. Can we just push it off till Sunday night? Can you punish him Sunday night? And he says, Denny, I don't
plenty
know.
of time for punishment.
There's plenty of time for punishment. And the truth is, he goes, Denny, I want you have a conversation with him, which I did, and they didn't win the damn thing. But and you're right. And then I felt bad afterwards. I don't know the right answer.
no,
I'm
but
sitting here.
you threw an extra stitch in there. Is without him, you forfeit, or you play with 8 kids.
100%.
So it was important for him to be there, not only for him, but
Yeah.
for your teammates.
Could I have called up other kids?
So, but the word we got out, like, no, Denny wouldn't protect him. That hurts you, I think, with the kids. Like, well, hold on a second, Denny doesn't have our back.
Yeah.
Well, but you're a
so
coach.
You're in a tough situation there.
I'd love to send out to those that are listening. Send in our email. We have an email.
Yeah, you can send it to me.
Send it to Rob.
Send it to me. We'll put it in.
I'd love to get your answer on what you would do as a coach of a team. What would have Mick Cronin done?
Mick would have pulled the kid immediately. I
The
mean,
kid from Alabama. But he did answer.
not even a question.
And at our breakfast this afternoon, you would say, this is bullshit. They ought to let the kid. What? I mean, you're going to get both sides of this.
We've
Because
had our fair share of that over the last few.
Because UCLA is a very
Sure.
dirty program. I mean, it happens at UCLA.
Filthy.
Filthy,
No,
dirty right
no,
there.
No,
Didn't he tell Bill Walton? Didn't John Wooden tell Walton
cut
to
your hair.
cut your hair?
Yeah, as I recall, he came back as the player of the year just before the first practice with long hair. He'd been walking the John Muir Trail and going to Grateful Dead concerts. He showed up.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, coach."
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, Bill, what's with the hair?" "Oh, come on, coach." And he said, "Bill, you've got 30 minutes before the season practice starts. If your hair isn't to our standard, you're going to miss the first few games pursuant to our rules."
Yeah.
And Walton tells about getting on his 12-speed and riding down to Westwood
Right.
Terrace barbershop. But this is a little different. I'd love to know what your listeners think. When your kids were graduating high school, and it was like prom or grad night, did they still roll in the wreckage of a car and said, "Don't drive drunk"? Do they still do that?
No, they don't. They take buses now.
I know that's pretty onerous.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Right?
that. Yeah,
But when they do that
right.
and they show you films and say,
Yeah, right.
somebody's paid a price for the lesson.
100%. 100%. But do we blame the kid? Here's my thing, man. I love the kids.
We should probably do a wrap. We're over an hour.
Are we?
Yeah. We should
Seriously?
probably do a wrap. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
last thing I'm going to say.
No, this is a good point probably to end on.
Okay.
Or to wrap it, and you guys.
I'm just going to say this. We can blame the kids. We can blame the kids and punish the kids. But if this kid's mouthing off to his dad at age 14, it probably didn't start at 14. So I want to put some of the onus on our parents. And if they're not that they're if they allowed it at 6 and 7 and 8, and they've lost control. My dad had his thumb on us, man. We popped off the mom. We could pop off, but if we did, man, we knew the consequences. But if it started, I just favor the kids sometimes. The kid from Alabama, the John Morants, and they're making millions and all that. But I wonder if it's ever been addressed to them at a young age. And parents, I highly recommend, if the mouthing off's going on, it starts with just popping off back. It starts with little things. And then later on, though, big issues. And
It started for me when your brother taught me how to talk trash. Just saying.
let's just say it. All right. So listen, Mike Barron, we went to a lot of topics here, man.
Yeah, you did. It's good though.
There's nothing to be added.
This was a coffee. If you
Jesus
guys,
Christ,
this would have been a coffee.
I had
in the diner.
I actually had hair with.
Yeah, I know, man. I didn't know this was an hour. I encourage y'all to we have to do another one. We'll definitely do another one. All right. Especially
Let's do it.
if UCLA wins it, as soon as UCLA wins.
When?
Okay. when they get knocked out or when they win. No. If they get upset by, if they do, we'll do another one and get get off my lawn.
No, we're going to do one at the Final Four.
At the
I think I will be there for sure.
Where's it at? Where's it at?
Houston.
It's in Houston.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but if UCLA goes when we go to the dance, we'll do
a follow. We'll have some more information regarding the Alabama. I hope Alabama, UCLA are in the final two. If this kid gets out there, and you will be so pissed.
Kid is insanely talented.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Thanks, man.
Just wrap it up.
I love you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, that's good.